Okay, guys, how we doing? Here we are, Monday, the 15th of July, and per the polling here, it doesn't surprise me here, Bitcoin was first up. So this will be, in large part, just a continuation of what I was talking about on Friday. So the count here is, we've had a little development here. So there's two ways to read where we are here. And so this remains my primary count. I know it's a little tricky to see in here. This is a 4-hour here, but just per the... Let's see what quick. I think the easiest way to do it. So I've got a WXY into an ABC into an X, and then while the B is a little shallow, I think there's a reasonable case to be made that we're in an ABC. Now you can see I have some targets down here. Just second algo target, our 50% in the median line, suggesting that this is a potential path for us to go. And so far, pretty much in line with that. Now we're going to get a bit of a tell here when we come up if we're going to challenge the wave one low here. So let's go in there, and I think we can see it best on the 30-minute here. So if this is going to be our B wave here, and it's a little, this actually, so you're very tempted to think, oh wait, something's off here. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but if you really dig through it, and it's skinny, but you can play this as a WXY ABC here. Now it's going to break down, right? You're going to have to go down to the 1 or 2 minute to try and get that to completely subdivide here. But so as I show you guys this often, right? So this becomes an area of maybe, right? So if this is going to start to break down, might be back here revisiting this, because it's a little shaky here. One, it's shallow. Two, you're really fighting for the WXY here, particularly in the C wave of the Y. But it may not matter here based on how we resolve here. Now, we could see that, this could happen while I'm recording this. So on the 30-minute here, so we can look here. If the B is in, we're looking for our 5 to finish here. It doesn't need to be an impulse. But right now, it's taking the shape. It would support the idea that we've got a 1, 2. The subdivision is here for this third, so I've got an impulse underway. The ABC, right, so far. Now, what's got you a little bit I'm kind of pondering here? If we're going to break too far up here, this is going to look less and less like an impulse. So typically here, if we're going to get the turn, you'd be expecting it here at the 50. Now, we know... right, just straight algo play here from our 2, this pivot to this pivot, we'd be anticipating a reaction here. If we're going to go up and test the golden zone, the symmetry starts to break down a little bit, i.e. the 4 to the 2. You start to hedge yourself a little bit and rethink. But right now, 1, 2, we come to the 3 is down here. We get just shy of the 161. We don't quite make the 1618, 175 window with a little probe down here, but note what we've done. If we pull back out, it's another test of the 38. All right, so we had a few wicks through. We're back now. We're testing the 38 again. So if we're going to get this ABC here, and we're going to come up, we're going to challenge it, this will certainly be a tell. So if we come up here and we break the golden zone here, you start to wonder about and maybe ponder so is there something else that could be going on here? Well, just looking at these retracements, if we break here, I think you have to rethink the idea that we're going from the well, shit, come here. God, that's annoying. All right, so if we're going to break here, at this point, I'd be anticipating, I'd be a little surprised if we get too far beyond the 50 here, if this is going to be realized. So we have first target down here, obviously, right? And we got the second down here. The reason I'm looking for the lower price here, I'd rather see it come down, test the 50, then I get a better feel for the buying opportunity here. Now that's going to put us, at the very least, challenging 9,000. Here I am on Binance, right? So to the tether, putting us down here, in the 8,500 to 9K range. So if this is going to turn, I'd be anticipating that would likely be happening relatively quickly here. I'd rather not see this go up this far. All right, just to give me more, I'm a bull, so I'm kind of rooting for this against my own interest here, at least in terms of the short term, but I will have a better feel for the count here if we're going to turn here at the 50. And it looks like we're getting challenged here. So you can see here we've got some structure here, these prior lows, all lining up right at the proposed wave one pivot here, the ABC. So if I go even, I dig in here a little bit more, just looking for some wave relationship between the proposed A and the B. You know, we're through the 100, 1272, you know, not uncommon for the C. I'd really rather, so here's the 161. So if we're going to go A, B, and we're going to get a big push here, get the 1618 in the C of the 4, well, then it breaks down. And so then now you're rethinking this, could it be a diagonal? 1, 2, hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that impulse. You could get it here. I mean, so real quick, you could get it this way. You could get the A down here. So let me clean this up a little bit. So worth noting this. Let's get this out of here. So if we are going to go up here and challenge that golden zone, can I get this to work as a diagonal, or am I completely blowing up the idea? Let's get this down here. Come on, micro. Okay, so we've got a possible ABC going in here, right? Not a lot of sub. Well, the 4 or 5 of this would be all right. F1, 2, 3, 4. It's not ideal, but you could have it. You could go from this 2. So there's not. So you could look at it this way: A, B, C here possibly, and then from here we could get the A. There's a 3. It's skinny, but there's an ABC here. So if we're going to go up and challenge this, now we'd be looking for something technical. Excuse me, from the start of the 1 wave. If it's going to go into a diagonal, does it still work? Well, now all of this structure here in this pivot line up here at the 50. So we still have a sell zone here, right? For the idea that we're going to resolve here as a diagonal. So we'd have an ending diagonal here potentially to finish the C wave. You can get it to work. It's not terrible symmetry. It's a little bit of a push here at this B. I'm a little, and again, as I have it highlighted, A, B, we finish with a diagonal, so we're going to have an expanding. If we look at this here, so we'd have, let's just assume we get the wave 4 pivot here. If we get that, we got to think about the wave relationship here. So it actually kind of lines up rather nicely. So let's hit now. We're real quick. We got to check let's check the length of this 1 to the 3. I think we're okay, but let's just double check this. Well, we're through the 272. Yeah, we're okay here. So an ABC. Yeah, that still plays. It actually, if you kind of pull out on this a little bit, if we get the turn here, this actually sets up pretty nicely to bring us down here to where I'm. You know, I see this as just a great buying opportunity if we're going to come this low. If we pause here at the 38, now you're kind of rethinking the whole thing. There is an alternate count here, which we're going to look at in a sec. So this will be a real tell as to what happens here. Do we overlap that wave 1? We haven't done it yet, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I think it's worthwhile to consider whether or not, if we turn here and we get a slight overlap, can we still resolve this as an AB and then finishing with the C here as an expanding ending diagonal here. It wouldn't be your dream setup. You wouldn't prefer to see it settle this way. But we haven't overlapped the 4 yet, so we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Just want to be prepared for that contingency. Should we come up here, break, but then get a very slight break and then make that turn coming back down. You can see here, right, we got plenty of market acceptance up above. So if we're going to come right here, we've got a little divot right at the 50, right, tied to all of these wicks where the market was, we didn't have market acceptance here. Coming up here, that's a... Now, I would not be looking to short that myself, right? So, you know, we have many members, senseis, right? Many will, but you can certainly be tight on that stop. So you've got 2 ways to play this. One is try and thread it as tightly as possible. Stop just on the other side of the 50. Give it a little wiggle room on the other side of that 1. I wouldn't give it much though. So either that comes up, we tap the 50, algos kick in, we turn down, or you would want to be out here because now you got to rethink, is something else going on here? That would be my suggestion if you're looking for the short there. Me personally, I'll wait. I want to get some clarification. How does the market respond here if we're heading lower? You know, I damn near have my limit orders ready to go here. I mean, this would be very attractive to me as a potential buy opportunity. Now, sure as hell I'm going to put a stop on it, but this is what I'm waiting for. Now, let's go look at the alternate, because that's, we can't, where did I put it? Or something, it's right here. We can't eliminate this as a possibility. So you guys may have seen this floating around. There's a lot of technicians here highlighting this as a possibility. Now, the issue here, if we're going to go into a triangle here, well, it would imply a 4. The only reason that I'm suspect of this, well, there's two really. One, the length of that third relative to the 1, 2 is just, we're way out of norms, right? It's like I mean, it's a huge swing relative to the 1, 2. Now, the subdivision, you can make it work. So if this is going to finish, now it's a little bit early. So we've got 3 of we need 5 pivots. We've only got 3 of them. So it's a little bit early to be clamoring over, oh, I know exactly what it is. Well, yeah, maybe. Certainly, it's potentially there. It is interesting to note how this trend line here from these two, if we pull it back left, we're working off of the structure here, and you can almost pull it right up a little bit, catch these little tops here, but we've had this little poke here. Well, note, okay, well, I'm assuming you guys all see this, right? Where do we go down here, right? We're right to the, I'm working off of the lowest low here before we go parabolic, into the golden zone, now right to the edge of it, so that no surprise here, that's where we're finding support. So if we come out of here with a 3, right? So we've had 3, 3. You could make the case for the 3, right? If we're going to get a little 3 here, all right, something like that. Now it's teed up to be there. That is certainly, we cannot eliminate that until we break further down, right? So if this would be kind of what's holding the triangle in place here, is this pivot. You know, with no coincidence here, right at the golden zone. So if this starts to break, if we're heading down here, we're going to get this realized. God damn it, come here. Down towards this area here, where we're talking about 8,500, 9,000. We break down the triangle, that goes out the window. So, but right now it's still a contender. So, you know, keep that somewhere as an alternate. But as I was just showing here, I think we're gonna get the tell here when we come up and challenge this pivot. If we do, it looks like we're in the process of doing that. So I'd have these right side by side. All right, note here, I have this on Binance and this on Coinbase. Just you know, I always want to check. You know, I don't want to be locked into one exchange. You might miss something on one, not see it on another. Just most of the volume here. This is where the majority of the volume is here. So we've got this right. So this. If we get here, so if we get the E here, right? Yeah, I would certainly, that's worth considering for the long, right? There's plenty of upside there. If we're going to come in here, that's, we'll call it 10.4 with a target up here at 15, and that's, you know, just the first algo target of 15.3. This, yeah, I mean, we'd look long and hard here if this is going to play out, right? So first, what happens here? Do we get the 3 and roll over? If we do, then that's, yeah, we're going to look long and hard at the opportunity to be a buyer there. But until we get that, right now, my expectation is that we've got one more drive down here, and we're headed back down to this. Let's call it 9,000 to 8,500. That's my buy zone. We get down there. That's a zero hesitation for me. I'm a buyer there, but I sure as hell will have a stop on it. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I can offer there in terms of Bitcoin. So we'll be back. I've got looks like a couple other here are being requested as well. All right, back to you in a bit.